You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are
RAW
Break. And it's time, family, to talk about NXT UK. And, probably the best brand in the WWE. We say it all the time. And it is. This week, kind of like we're wrapping up the year, right? We're just wrapping up like it's going to be the next couple of weeks. It's going to be just probably specials just because everybody's just in the Christmas spirit mode. So, we're going to be just talking about the last show that actually matters, I believe. The last show that actually has any kind of importance in what is going to be, NXT UK. So what do you think, Paul, all about it?
Yeah, overall, I like the vibe and feel of the show. We had the main event. They were hyping up. Okay, Frazer and A-Kid. It was exciting. No new, two baby faces. So, we didn't really know who was going to win to go on to face Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. And, we saw a great match to open the show, Dempsey and Joe Coffey. I really enjoyed that match. And a lot of stuff, like you said, hinting for next year. We saw Symbiosis, Kenny Williams, all these guys, and then we know the next big title feud also as well.
In the women's division.
Yeah, in the women's division and for Dragunov, going against the ace, Jordan Devlin. So, lots of good stuff. We always say it each and every week. NXT UK is the number one show. Definitely WWE. It's their hidden gem. I feel still a lot of people don't know about it. So,
exactly. And Vince McMahon probably doesn't know about it, and it's good that it stays that way. Yes, exactly. So thank you so very much, family, for being with us. Thank you for the love subscriptions, for the reception for the video for AEW Winter is coming. A pretty great show from the first hour, probably. Up to that, we got a championship match with Hangman Page and Danielson. This was just an amazing match, and also the ending leaves it wide open just for another match that probably will take place at Revolution. Also, CM Punk and Sting and Darby Allin are going to go with MJF and FTR in the Christmas special show. So pretty good for AEW. They're still warming up. They're still hot. No surprises here, but despite of that, the first hour really solid.
Yeah, I was a big fan of this match. I really enjoyed, everything that they did. Like I said, up until maybe about the 45-minute mark, maybe a little long for me, but I know why they did it. They wanted both guys looking strong, like you said, going into a pay-per-view or whenever they do the inevitable rematch. But this was overall a solid episode of AEW Dynamite. The second edition of Winter is coming, and it's hard to say which one I like better. Because the first one with Moxley and Omega and Sting, I still think that one is more memorable. But this was great.
Well, that was a title switch, really that's great. Why like you said, that's why it's more important. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, also on Twitter, and all the social media pages. We're absolutely everywhere, family. So, Paul, like you said, that this show, NXT UK, started out with Charlie Dempsey going against Joe Coffey. They have a rivalry because it's Di Familia or La Familia going against Gales. So, a pretty great match. Very intense, very technical, because that's what Charlie Dempsey is all about. As a technician, he's more maneuvering, just the arms, the strength, everything that he wants to just isolate. Your speed and all that. And Joe Coffey is more power, more strength. But despite of that, we got a great match right there.
Yeah, he's so good, and both these guys work so stiff that everything they do, it looks so real, looks believable. When you watch them, grab the wrestling holds on each other, you're not just going like you see in some matches, you go, oh, okay, they're just doing a wrestling hold. Here, it looks like that's how you would actually grab a guy if you were in a fight, because they look like they were actually in a fight. They weren't like they were just having a wrestling match, like it was choreographed or something. No, this looked real, looked believable. I'm such a big fan of Dempsey, and I actually wanted him to get the win, but at the end of this thing, Joe Coffey, he's taking the advantage. Then we see, the rest of the guys, Tio Man and Raja, they come out and they said, everybody was barred from ringside. Nobody was coming out, but of course the heels are like, fuck that. They come out anyway. And then obviously Gallus comes out, big distraction, everything. And then Joe Coffey gets sent into the ring steps, back into the ring, and then he gets the Dragon Sleeper on him. And then I like how, again, it was old school. He didn't do 3, but at least he did 1. He picked up the arm. It felt like a limp noodle, and he was like, no, it's done, call it. And Dempsey gets the win. And I like how he didn't take a cheap shot. He didn't kick him in the nuts. He didn't, bite him. He didn't do no bullshit. I mean, he put him in his head against the ring steps or anything, that was maybe like cheating, whatever, but to me it wasn't real bad, and I would like to see a rematch. He's good. He's a guy too, if you really build him up, he's one of those guys. Him, Frazer, Dragunov, even A-Kid. I'm not the biggest fan of A-Kid, but A-Kid, Noam Dar. I mean, they have such a great, roster of young talent.
And it's young guys, and the main thing is like they're all athletic. They're not really channeling like the big muscular guy. Like they do have those in like Rampage Brown. They have that in Joe Coffey. They have that in Mastiff, but they're actually focusing.
And the son of William Regal. I mean, come on, how can you go wrong?
And like you said, like, and that's the one thing. Like they're trying to keep it like really, really cool with him, serious. They're trying to keep it like William Regal would have like his son to be, or like what William Regal would have been if there would have been an NXT UK. So like I like that. That was a pretty good beginning of the show. We got, like you said, more promos between Ilya Dragunov and also Jordan Devlin. That is going to be great. And that's going to be the championship feud.
Even Nigel said it felt like a car commercial. What did you think about that? Like the somber mood. What was that? Moonlight Sonata, I think, was playing in the background, and it sounded real like creepy, but also he's just like, pretty much that, the fans love him. He's adored. He has a mansion. He can do what he wants. He's rich, all this stuff. He's so great. And that, he doesn't care. Like, he doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't do it for them. But they love him. They worship him and all this. And he's pretty much just saying how, him and Dragunov are so different. And, I mean, it was different, but I don't know if it really fit this. I
don't know if it like the intensity of the feud, but I mean they're trying to present him in a different light.
Because as soon as they when we saw it like the last time, whether it was last week, 2 weeks ago, I thought it was last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is when it was good. I was like, okay, this is awesome. Then we see that they present it this week, and I'm like, Jordan Devlin doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, it wasn't like you said. It's like, is he really gonna dethrone Dragunov? Probably not. But I mean, at least he's gonna finally have that opportunity, that main match. That if you think about it, somebody that you just mentioned has had twice, and Jordan Devlin has not even had one.
Yeah,
and that's A-Kid. A-Kid already fought for that championship twice. With two different champions and Jordan Devlin not even once. So that's a little bit of justice. That will do a little bit of justice for Jordan Devlin. That was really cool. We got a promo also by Sid Scala because Mustache Mountain are the new tag team champions. We know that. We cover it. And he said it's going to be a tournament to determine the number one contender. That's going to happen in 3 weeks because, again, these 2 weeks are going to be recyclables. Just kind of wrapping up the year, the best of 2021. NXT UK is back. A lot of people, like I said, Hidden Gem, they don't know about it.
They'll probably even say, like, if you missed anything, go to Rope Break.
We have every single episode right here. Every single episode right here. We pride ourselves in doing it and doing it in the best way possible. So that's why we do. There's going to be also like La Familia is going to have a match. They're going to go against Dave Mastiffs and also like Andrews or Stars. So that's going to be really cool. And then that is going to be like the beginning, and then also there's going to be like Ashton Carter and Oliver Carter, and Ashton Smith. They're going to have another match. So like it's going to determine like not the greatest, like not the guys that are going to dethrone Mustache Mountain, but it's just a first stepping stone. It's a good title defense for Mustache Mountain, which is cool. I really like that. So NXT is all about NXT UK about tournament.
Do you remember who they were going against? I can't remember. Was it Symbiosis or who was it that?
I think it's Symbiosis.
It was. Yeah, I mean, it looked like a pretty solid tournament, and obviously, I don't think Mustache Mountain is going to lose it, especially with the promo, that we are going to hear them cut in a little bit. But Symbiosis, I mean, again, they were a team we had high hopes for. And, at the time, it wasn't their time. Unfortunately, they had to put guys over. They had to make, stars out of somebody else. And, they cut a pretty good promo here. And, I'm going to give them like baseball, 3 strikes. That was strike 1. Here's strike 2. If this one doesn't hit. Because I'm like, maybe, hey, they put teams over. Now it's their time. Look at somebody like, what's his name with the Mohawk? Sam Gradwell. How we always say, he put all these guys over. He's so good. What the heck? Now
he's getting an opportunity.
He was getting some wins and a little bit of a push. So
I agree with you. And see, like the main thing that they take here, Paul, like they say, like, like the 2021 words were 2021 words. Now we're gonna move to another year, and that's the beauty of like new beginnings. Is like everything that like happened in the past it stays in the past. So that's kind of pretty much what they said. It's like we were bullshit on 2021.
Yeah.
2022 is the year of consolidation. We're gonna be better. We're gonna like surprise the world. We're gonna take the world. That's gonna be good. I'm liking it. So like we said, also like we got a promo by these guys, Carter and Smith, just because on other ones that deserve an opportunity. If they win that tournament and become number one contenders, that will be fine. Because again, they're not gonna win it, but at least having the opportunity, it will be good for them. There's a team that like needs also like important moments because it's a team, but like if you don't never get to even challenge for the title, does it really matter? So
yeah, the only thing I'm gonna say here is I think we're gonna see, with what we saw in the first first match. I think, De Familia, I think they're going to beat Gallus. I think they're going to do the job, put them over. And then I think they're going to be the ones, spoiler alert, to win this whole tournament. Because, come on, you have babyface champions. You're kind of pushing a heel group stable right now. That would be the way I would go. And because you could get, even after that, a bunch of good singles matches out of it, Dempsey and Tyler Bate and all them. But
it will be good. Yeah, you can actually split it up and have a long-term feud. I agree with you.
Not to get ahead of myself. Good promo by Smith and Carter. They have the intensity and stuff. They're good, but like I said, unfortunately, with a babyface champion, I don't think they have too high hopes. But I do like them as a team. They are great wrestlers.
I think so too. So hopefully, let's see. At least the opportunity will be nice. Yeah. Like you said, we're going to be talking about Mustache Mountain because they were celebrating their brand new, NXT UK Tag Team Championships. So like you see, Trent Seven and Tyler Bate just celebrating, knocking the bells right there, and also like he said, it's all cool. But what would we have done? What would have happened if we have lost? So there you go. You see, at least they acknowledge that there could have been, another ending for this story. And then maybe it would have been, the breakup of the team, or, maybe one of them would have turned against the other. So, you see that they're throwing, it's not a seed, but it's just hey, we're thinking. It's one of us is thinking about it. It's in our head. So that was cool.
Yeah, because you even saw the look on, it was such a good promo by Trent Seven. He carried this thing. He thanked, the NXT UK fans. He thanked everybody watching. I was waiting for him to thank Rope Break for reviewing every single episode, but he didn't, because he even said these past 18 months have been crazy and all this stuff, and it's still kind of crazy right now. But he was a good babyface promo, hyping everybody up. The audience actually got into it a little bit, because how the crowd's usually kind of so.
Oh yeah, no, they were actually into it.
They were into it. This was good, but like you said, the main thing here, the story of it, I was into was when he said that, what would have happened if we would have lost? Because even Tyler Bates' face wasn't no man, we weren't gonna lose, we were always gonna win. He even kind of had a look what would have happened? He, and then he's like, oh, but we didn't lose, so there's nothing to worry about, and I'm not going to retire. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to, defend these belts forever. The crowd was, then they got hyped up and stuff. So they teased that a little bit, would he have just retired? Because the look on Trent Seven's face wasn't oh yeah, if I lost, I would have retired. It's maybe I would have been so pissed I would have snapped. You don't really know. So, maybe we're reading into it. Maybe
at least the idea is out there,
But it's out there, yeah.
That's important, is, he's considerate.
And then he turned the thing and we're the only ones to win the NXT UK Tag Team Championships. We're the only ones to win the
Heritage Cup,
the regular NXT Tag Team Championship. So Mustache Mountain, we're the best team ever. Putting themselves over and stuff.
Also Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. So they wrap it up really nice.
And then you pretty much put Tyler Bate over as the best thing ever. He's the Triple Crown winner. I love they call him big our Grand Slam boy, Slam boy.
Yeah, Grand Slam boy Tyler Bate, because he's the first one. He's Gargano. Yeah. It's Gargano that they won all the titles. Now
they did it already with a tag team match, but no, be a legit singles match if Gargano was still there.
Oh yeah, with Tyler Bate. Yeah, it would have been, it would have been, it would have still been there, but of course, it's not there anymore. But Paul, let's talk about finally, this is confirmed. Meiko Satomura, she's acknowledging Blair Davenport. So you see, I don't know, in the promo, was she saying Bia or Blair? So that was a little bit of I didn't know what she was saying, but she just says, hey, you know what, I know that you've been in Japan.
It really did sound like Bia. It's what do you are you calling her a shoot name, or what's going on here? But no, yes. I mean maybe with her accent they're screw it, just put it up, we don't gotta
just put it over. Yeah, it's fine. And she just pretty much said that she knows her. She knows that she's been trying to get that match with Meiko and all of that. She said that in Japan they always cross paths. They cross paths, but they never really had the match. So it's okay, you coming after me for NXT UK? I'm here and you're not gonna beat me. It's in the end, you're a great wrestler, but I'm the final boss. So you saw also you heard from Blair Davenport. She said you might be called the final boss, but I'm here the foreigner that is gonna take your title away from you. So in 3 weeks' time, Paul, we're gonna get finally the NXT UK Women's Championship match. Blair Davenport with Meiko Satomura. Is the year gonna start with a title switch, Paul?
You know what? I think, the way that they book stuff so far, we never really see it in that first big match. Boom. No, I almost think that there's going to be a defense here. Maybe they make a kind of a feud out of it, not just, one match and done. We see a little something. I don't know. I think it's going to go to her eventually, because I think the story is Davenport versus Valkyrie. I mean, I think that's a great match that kind of lines up. You know, you could set it for her big return when she comes back from injury. But this was good. You know, like the promo, I went to Japan, I conquered your country. Now, what do you think I'm going to do to you in my country? Now you're on my home turf, you know. So this was good. And, you know, I'm looking forward to the match. And if they do a title switch, I mean, I can't say I'll be like, you know, that upset or anything, but I would like to see Mako retain, you know, some kind of fashion just to put her over, because she's one, like I kind of said about Serena Deeb in the AEW review. Go check that out, folks, if you haven't.
Yep.
I said, like, if you say somebody's so good, they have to win real big matches. They can't just win little matches. They got to win the big matches
because like
to
it's like when you show up,
called so good.
It's like in main matches, in like, you know, in big situations. That's when you should. That's why Shawn Michaels is, you know, Mr. WrestleMania, Undertaker,
John Cena, big match John. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
because like Gargano, like Johnny Wrestling, or Johnny Takeover, because in Takeover he always step it up. He always like deliver him better. I agree with you. We'll see what happens, but like this might be like maybe like the beginning of a program. There's going to be a few matches for that championship, so this is good. They're going to start the year in there with the right food, and then we're going to go with like Danny Jones going against the scum of the air, Kenny Williams. This was just good, and the Kenny's like at least closing the year being really good, and as a heel, he can still have the rivalry with like Mark Andrews. That was really cool, and he's is one of his students, so that's why pretty much they have the match. So like pretty good showing for both. I mean, Jones is just like the enhancement talent for Kenny, and we got to see bad luck applied twice. You know, it's a really cool hole. I like it, and in the end, 1, 2, 3, Kenny Williams get the win.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Jones, you know what I mean? He's pretty good. I mean, he's kind of like bland in the sense that he just like, I mean, he's super athletic, super good. You know, he has size, but he's not like super like defined, like muscle definition. He doesn't really, you know, he's just like short hair. He doesn't have a gimmick or character or anything. But I mean, he's a great wrestler, had a little bit of a comeback, but no, you know, Kenny Williams was going to win this. And, you know, it was a pretty good match, and I like Kenny Williams too. He's another one of those guys. I don't know if I mentioned him earlier, but add him to the list of all these young guys that are so talented. Like, I don't know what they're doing for WWE 2K22 or whatever, the new game, but can you put all these guys in since WWE cut everybody else? Can you put the UK guys in? Because I mean,
remember at the beginning,
because I want to play as these guys. I mean, this is young talent. Like, you know, I would say, imagine if you had these guys and they were presented legit and like a cross promotion thing with like the pillars of AEW. That would be like legit matches.
Oh, you could have like really good like matches, good compelling storytelling. It will be like, that will bring a lot of eyes to the crowd.
Dragunov and Bryan Danielson, Dragunov and Darby Allin, they would beat the shit out of each other.
And you know, people will love it, but again, you know, and hopefully like WWE 2K at least understands that. And this, you said it, they need to fill a lot of spots that they were empty for all the releases, all the amount of guys that they were cut. So maybe they're going to give more room to NXT UK. They always say, you know, every game is like, oh, the biggest roster ever, the biggest roster ever. Well, let's see. And we just don't get Mako and Dragon.
Yeah, and this year they can't give us 7 Ric Flairs to count as, you know, 7 characters.
Well, it's true. Yeah, no more Ric Flairs, no more Mick Foley.
And Bray Wyatt.
No more Mick Foley. You know, so it will be different. Exactly. So also, Paul, remember Mark Andrews like got another injury. You know why they're playing with this? It's just because Mark Andrews really got injured in the last match that he had. So that's why they're playing this angle with the injury, which is good, but like it's still the storyline continues. At some point, we're gonna see the match.
Yeah, and I do like how it's, like you said, it's, you know, if he is injured, have Kenny Williams be the one who the one who does it. We saw, you know, he was walking out of the locker room. They're like, and I like how the cameraman was actually like, you know, oh, you know, hell, you know, are you all right? It wasn't just like in AEW when you see a backstage beatdown and the cameraman just stands there holding the camera and doesn't say anything. This guy was actually, oh, are you okay? And he's like, no, you know, go get somebody.
Get the doctor.
He was screaming for help and everything. So it made it seem, again, what does this show do? We say everything seems real. So, you know, this was good. And, you know, I like it because hopefully it moves him on to, you know, somebody, I don't know, maybe a Dragunov. Maybe he gets another win, and then we see Kenny Williams versus Dragunov or something.
Yeah, that could be another potential feud right there, because you have a lot of heels, and you have a good champion that is willing to defend them. So why not?
Yeah,
it would be cool opportunity, and you know, Dragunov opens up like the door, because Walter with Kenny Williams, really nobody wants to see that. Just because size, like okay, just one
like
part.
swatting a fly. It's like
Just one far from like Walter, it will be done, But like this is it actually does makes a lot of sense if Dragunov will be able to participate in that. Because go with guys that are like the same size as like Ilya Dragunov, and that's A-Kid and Nathan Frazer, and Heritage Cup rules because this will determine the #1 contender. And we said both that the guy that needed to win this was here Frazer. He's never had a match opportunity like this aside of the Cruiserweight Championship match that he did with Jordan Devlin. So this was the moment, and here I think that like NXT UK drops the ball just because they give it to the A-Kid. The match was really good. I thought it was going to be a lot better than what I thought, but though in that, to me, speed-wise, it never picked up until maybe at this point it was one the highlight when, like, of course they do the spinning combination just to get one fall out of it, and I don't really like that. The first one was still the like, oh, we get to know each other, we just kind of like see it, test the waters and stuff. But what do you think overall?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, I liked how Frazer got a quick fall. Okay, because they said, oh, A-Kid maybe had the advantage. He was the Heritage Cup champion. Obviously, he's won a bunch of these matches and everything. And, it was kind of the surprise fall. And then, things start to pick up for me then. The submissions, oh, can he hold out? Can he hold out? Oh, he doesn't tap out, and then A-Kid, is he injured and everything? And, the big super kicks and everything to each other. I mean, again, whether they're slapping their thighs or, whatever they're doing, to make that noise. I mean, it seems like they're really kicking each other's head, and maybe they are kicking each other's head in. Who knows? But, I mean, this was great. I liked it. But to me, overall, I still think I like the opening match more. I like Dempsey. I'm really into, like De Familia. I mean, they're not maybe presented the greatest, but, I think I like that match more because him and Joe Coffey, they had a really good slugfest. And, the winner was just a little bit of sour grapes for me because at the end of it, A-Kid, he got a fall.
That super, that like that, the kick, to get like the to tie it up right here. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
like you saw with the A-Kid, for me, this is when like I got a little bit upset because like the one thing that the A-Kid does not have, he might be the greatest. He might have the greatest athleticism. He might be, like so good on like delivering the moves, so good in selling and everything. But outside of that, the character is just terrible.
Would you say like a Dean Malenko kind of like in that like
worse than that?
There's like no character.
Worse than that, because at least Dean, he was the man of 1,000 holds, so there was something, at least some kind of hook. Oh, this guy knows a lot of holds of wrestling holds, so he can maybe pull one week this hole, and then the next week he might do something different. There's nothing. It's just the Spanish sensation, but why is sensational? That's my question. You keep calling him the Spanish sensation, but why is he sensational? What does he do that will make him stand out? So that's the one thing. But in the end, I got to see like, oh, he kind of like Frazer went for like he's like the frog splash. He didn't get it. He tried to go for like the almas, like inverting it with like that, but then he falls into like the submission hold right here, and that was it for like Nathan Frazer. He needed the win here desperately because if you're going to start the new year, you needed a brand new guy. Even if Noam Dar is going to win, it would have been good for Nathan Frazer to get that. They didn't do it. He submits, and the A-Kid gets the win. At the end, show respect from both guys. I'm not happy because this guy is like out of everybody in NXT UK outside of Dragunov, he's had more opportunities than anybody.
That's what I mean. I really don't get what, who he's sleeping with backstage or, who has a thing for him or what the hell's going on, who he's related to. I don't know what it is, but he's featured all the time. And it's one of those things where it's like, and we're so sick of him because it's not like he's over. This isn't Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Attitude Era where everybody wanted to, or The Rock, where everybody wanted to see them featured all the time in the main event, in the championship matches and stuff. It's A-Kid. He's not that interesting. He's a good wrestler, but
but that's what it is.
But he had a shot. Frazer at least has a character. He has charisma, and the one thing is, I'm thinking, how many times are you going to keep giving A-Kid title opportunities and he loses? Unless you either got to turn him heel or I hate to say it, I hope they don't put it back on him. I hope
that would be bad. Definitely be bad.
That would suck. That would make Noam Dar look like
to do that. Put it on Nathan Frazer. Because it's new. Because it's new. You need, different stuff. You need variety.
That's the one thing. When I first saw it, and as soon as it was over, I'm like, I was a little more pissed than I am now. But I mean, this to me was one of the big things. If this is your indeed last show of the year, not the greatest way I would have went off the air, because it's like, yeah, again, a winner nobody really cares about. It's not like Roman Reigns level of pushing this guy to the moon when he was babyface, but it's like, it's getting there for NXT.
I think the constant opportunities is because also like he loses, when he gets the match, he loses. So that's the one thing. It should have been a lot better for Nathan Frazer. He needed it. Why? Because again, it would have been variety. It would have been different. It would have been at least a different guy doing it, but that's what we have, family. So that's how the show closes, and like we said, this is how NXT pretty much wraps out the show. This next 2 weeks are going to be like recyclables, but we will be keeping an eye. If there is something new, of course, we will deliver it for you guys.
Yes.
But if not, we'll take a little bit of a break from NXT UK. In 3 weeks, we will come back with Blair Davenport, Meiko Satomura, NXT UK Women's Championship on the line, and tomorrow we will have SmackDown, just because also we want to wrap the year in a kind of like a good way. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, a lot of build up for what's going to be day one. So be with us for that, and don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and also keep sharing Rope Break to the world. Where else can they find us?
And then make sure you follow us on all of our social media. Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, and Spotify, and of course right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
You and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is